Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. And so, military members, when they join, they take a pledge to defend the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, what should be noted about this pledge is that this pledge makes no mention of a military threat. It doesn't even mean the threat has to be human. So, do we not consider poverty, hunger, disease, and illness to be enemies to this country? Or does our government not? You know, are these things not a threat to our security as a nation, as a people? I tend to think they are. As of this recording, the U.S. military is illegally occupying Syrian oil fields, protecting the literal theft and denial of resources from a sovereign government that has all legal rights to those resources. The UN Peace Council has stated that our presence in Syria is illegal under international law. Our military is maintaining a presence in Iraq, a country whose government has insisted on the evacuation of our forces. Thus, an illegal military occupation of a sovereign nation. Our military is patrolling and threatening to invade Venezuela, with even the objection of neighboring countries like Colombia. Our ships are conducting naval drills, including the firing of missiles in war games off the coast of China. How would we react if China conducted war games off of our coast, even in international waters? How would we act? What would we do? Our naval vessels are attempting to block the passage of Iranian and Russian oil tankers while also threatening to destroy a major Russian oil pipeline or gas pipeline. I guess it's oil and gas. I'm not sure. I can't think right now. But, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. In each one of the cases above that I just mentioned, these countries are of absolutely no military or security threat to this country. I don't care what propaganda you've been listening to, they are not posing a militaristic threat to us. In fact, they're no military or security threat to any other nation either. The only threat to any sovereign government or military in this equation is the U.S. Multiple U.S. states are activating National Guard units, and there's talk of activating the reserves for the purpose of policing. Meanwhile, naval vessels, U.S. naval vessels, foreign and domestic military encampments, U.S. military encampments, are having outbreaks related to this pandemic. Naval vessels have been denied the right to evacuate increasing numbers of sick service members. One naval commander was relieved of command and shamed by the commander of the Navy after this commander had been given an ovation, a salute by his entire crew for standing up for them. I've previously pointed out that farmers are being allowed to, being forced to allow crops to rot in fields and warehouses because they're unable to sell and deliver those crops to restaurants and schools. This is occurring as food banks experience the longest lines in world history, and millions of workers have been laid off or placed on furlough. Furlough. Laid off. People are waiting on or just receiving $1,200 stimulus checks, which in some cases may not arrive for weeks. And in any case, that money is not going to go far. Not for anybody that's not currently working. If you're working, it's supplemental for now until you have to pay it back next year. But otherwise, it's not gone far. Also, a number of food processing facilities have closed due to illness and staffing shortages because of employee problems such as childcare. This includes Smithfield, the largest meat processing plant in the United States. It's highly likely that countries from whom we import food will be forced to reduce or eliminate their exports to the United States because of their own needs and limitations brought on by the same pandemic or because of unpaid U.S. corporate debts as U.S. corporate profits decline. Yeah, just front me, bro. I'll pay you next week. Yeah, sure. As conditions continue to worsen, food shortages are becoming more common. At some point, this is going to become critical. For some people, it may already have become critical. As food becomes more scarce, people are going to become more desperate. At least some part of this problem can be prevented by utilizing our military to transport food from farms to food banks or even grocery store warehouses. Military personnel could be manning food banks or even opening auxiliary food banks in conjunction with existing food bank systems, and resulting in, relieving congestion, traffic congestion, which has the potential to lead to security issues. If food banks run out of food with the dwindling current supplies, we could easily see violent incidents beginning to occur. Expand those supplies, and that risk decreases. And when you're talking about millions of pounds of food rotting in fields and warehouses, millions of pounds, this is inexcusable. All right, military personnel could also provide transportation or delivery for those needing food bank services but lacking transportation. It's not advisable that the National Guard and Reserve medical personnel be activated and pulled from their civilian employment. That would just reduce staffing at the facilities where those people are already employed. Unless their clinics are, not functioning right now in some cases, well, fine. Check on what their status is. And then maybe activate them to provide public care. But even without that, non-medical military personnel could easily serve in non-clinical functions for medical facilities to assist with this pandemic. All right? Our military has a budget of over $770 billion, which is intended to ensure the safety and security of the people of this nation. There's literally no reason that exists for which some part of that budget could not be diverted and used to provide humanitarian aid to the citizens of this country while we are being faced with a very real non-military crisis. There are no rules stating that our military defense budget can only be spent on bullets and bombs. There's also no rule stating our military forces can only be used for force. At this time, our military would be a far better service to this country and its people by preventing a foreseeable major social disruption beyond where we are now, including violence, by providing humanitarian and social support aid rather than waiting and using them for the express purpose of busting civilian heads when people have become violent because they are desperate. It is the time right now, to reconsider the purpose of our military structure and efforts. Increasing threats against other nations is the absolute last thing which is needed at this time for our country or any other on the planet. Now, I mentioned that $770 billion. I brought up the fact before that does not include everything used for defense. CIA, FBI, NSA, VA funding, all these things should fall under defense. And when you add those all in with the Pentagon budget, which they've already been shown to blow way past that budget and not be able to account for money in the trillions of dollars. But when you add those together, when you add all of that, we spend more on defense than every other country on earth combined. There is no reason that we cannot divert some of that money to actually help the people of this country when our security, when our welfare, when our well-being are at stake right this minute because of a domestic threat which is not military. But this can become violent if we don't prevent it from happening. You know, I've said that, okay, Smithfield shut down. They're not the only food processing company that has shut down or severely reduced output. There are other food processing companies that have also been forced to do this. So, you know, right now, I really advise, if you have not stocked up, to stock up on canned meats and dry goods and frozen foods. If you've got freezer space, you need to stock up and have at least 2 months of food on hand. Buy stuff that you normally buy so that when this blows over, you know, you'll just be spending less money on, groceries at a later date. You know, I looked into those, what do you call them, you know, survival rations, and they really were not worth the money. They just cost a fortune. And, you know, just buy stuff that you may eat. You know, stuff, canned ravioli, spaghetti, Spam, Vienna sausage, things like that that you can eat for snacks and take to work when you're able to go back to work. All right? Hey, you know, rice, potato flakes, flour for baking in case the bakery's shut down and you can't buy pre-made bread. You know, learn to make your own tortillas. Now is a good time for it if you don't know how. And, you know, you can use those for sandwich wraps. And, you know, biscuits, what have you. But, you know, just be stocked up. Be ready. You know, pasta. Pasta's a good one. It's cheap. You can buy lots of it. And it goes really far. All right, so that's going to be it for this one. Please share this video. Talk about these issues. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. And thank you again, Mary Giampaolo. I appreciate your ongoing donations. I see you donated again. I really appreciate you. You know, so thank you very much. And I'm putting my PayPal link below, and I hope you all have a good day.